Hello, my dear Scorpios. You are on the channel Astrology of the Path, and today we are talking in detail about March 2026, a month of deep inner transformation, reassessment of values, and setting priorities. This is a period when life seems to lead you to a mirror and offers you to honestly look at yourself, to understand where you live in harmony with yourself and where you have been adapting, yielding, or doubting your own strength and significance. Scorpio is a sign of depth, intuition, transformations, and inner resources. You subtly feel hidden processes around you and see the motives of other people. But March 2026 teaches an important lesson: true strength and inner stability. You're impossible without an honest look at your emotions, boundaries, and goals. This month is not about rush or external demonstrations of strength. It is about awareness, actions, and working with your inner world. March affects several key areas of Scorpio's life at once. The first house of personality and self-expression, the second house of finances and values, the fourth house of home and inner world, the seventh house of partnership and relationships, the eighth house of transformations and shared resources, and the 10th house of career and social status. Everything is closely intertwined. Changes in relationships reflect on financial and career issues. Inner experiences affect daily habits and well-being, and questions of trust and intimacy require honesty with yourself. If we translate March energies into everyday life, it is important to remember this month does not require heroism, rushes, or external strength. It asks to slow down and live more honestly first with yourself, where you previously acted. Automatically adapting to circumstances or others' life shows it is time to take responsibility for your emotions and decisions. The first house is activated through Mars and the Sun. It is responsible for your personality, charisma, and new beginnings. In the first half of March, boldly express yourself. New ideas and projects are easier to implement. On March 7, Sun's conjunction with retrograde Mercury returns old themes, projects, and conversations. This is a day for realizations, analysis, and completing what has long been postponed, but not final actions. The second house is associated with finances, values, and resources. Here, March pushes for reassessment of financial plans, attention to expenses and investments. On March 3, the lunar eclipse in Virgo activates questions of values. Material resources. There may be a need to adjust the budget or finalize old agreements. On March 5, a harmonious Sun-Jupiter trine is favorable for negotiations, planning, and finding opportunities. This day helps to see perspective and strengthen confidence that decisions are moving in the right direction. The fourth house is responsible for home, family, and inner world. In March, it reminds of the need to pay attention to emotional comfort and domestic stability. On March 19, the new moon in Pisces brings new intentions related to home life, habits, and inner state. A great time to tidy up, restore balance, and care for yourself. The seventh house is the central theme of the month. This is the house of partnership, relationships, and agreements. In March 2026, relationships become a key field of growth. Important conversations, clarifications, or closeness may occur. Illusions, unspoken words, and self-deception no longer work. The seventh house teaches building alliances on equality, not sacrifice. In relationships, speak directly, short, honest phrases. It is important to me. I cannot do this. This creates harmony more than maintaining outward calm. On March 6th, Venus enters Aries until a Mayan 9. March 30. The need for clarity and directness in partnerships increases. The eighth house is activated through Mars, Pluto, and Venus. This is the sphere of transformations, shared resources, intimate and emotional connections. You may face themes of control, dependence, fear of loss, or the desire for complete merging. This house requires honesty with yourself. On March 2, Mars enters Pisces and activates the 8th house, increasing analysis of hidden resources, attention to finances, partnership, debts, and obligations. The 10th house of career and social status is activated from March 20 to 22, when the Sun enters Aries and aspects with Jupiter are formed. This is a time of new professional opportunities, recognition of merits and career. Advancement. It is important to act strategically and evaluate real prospects. March is favorable for preparation and project planning, not large-scale undertakings. On March 2, Mars moves into Pisces and activates the 8th house of transformations, shared resources, and intimate connections. Energy of internal processes intensifies, inner experiences become significant. You may feel the desire to deal with the past, release old emotional knots, and review obligations. It is important to listen to intuition, not rush events, and pay attention to your feelings. On March 3, a lunar eclipse occurs in Virgo, affecting the 2nd house of finance, CES values, and material stability. This may bring the need to reconsider usual approaches to money, budget planning, or investments. You may receive new information about partnership finances or need to close old debts the eclipse brings to surface issues that were hidden. It is important not to make hasty decisions, but calmly analyze resources. On March 5th, a harmonious trine between the Sun and Jupiter forms, bringing inspiration, support, and opportunities. The energy is favorable for learning, planning, strategy, and expanding horizons. Useful advice can be received profitable. Agreements concluded, or progress made in professional matters. It is important to use this day for conscious forward movement, making decisions of long-term value. On March 6, Venus enters Aries, activating the 7th house of partnerships. Relationships become more dynamic, direct, sometimes tense. The need for honesty, clarity, and open communication accelerates. This is a time to speak directly about your needs, feelings, and expectations. Do not tolerate uncertainty or hide emotions. If ready for open dialogues, this period is excellent for strengthening existing relationships or starting new ones. On March 7, the Sun conjuncts retrograde Mercury. Old themes, projects, conversations, and situations return, giving a chance to complete what has long been postponed. This is a day for reflection, analysis, and internal dialogue, not final. Actions, memories, or proposals may arise. It is important to listen and record ideas for future use. On March 8, Venus forms a conjunction with Neptune, and the black moon is in square to karmic lunar node. This is a day of emotional sensitivity, tendency to idealize partners and situations. The need for inspiration and spiritual closeness increases. It is important to distinguish intuition from illusion and avoid risky financial or contractual obligations. On this day, creativity, music, meditation, and inner dialogue are especially valuable. On March 9, the trine of retrograde Mercury with Jupiter helps connect past with future and make strategic conclusions. This aspect is favorable for learning, planning, negotiations, and long-term projects. Ideas that come now may be significant for months ahead. Use this day to analyze lessons and determine next step. On March 13, the conjunction of Mars with the North Karmic Lunar Node brings fateful events related to work, health, and personal goals. You may feel inner tension, but through it, growth occurs. This is a day to be honest with yourself and make decisions reflecting true needs and long-term goals. On March 14, 15, and 16, tense aspects involving Mars, Mercury, and Black Moon may bring risk of conflicts, irritation, and emotional overload. It is important to slow down, take care of yourself, and avoid arguments. On these days, better to plan calm actions than active meetings. On March 19, the new moon in Pisces brings new intentions in work, health, and home habits. This is a time to lay foundations for improving daily routine, diet, physical, and emotional condition. Small steps will have long-term effects and help create inner balance. On March 20, the Sun enters Aries. Spring equinox occurs and career and partnership areas are activated. You enter a period to clearly understand with whom and on what terms to move forward. On this day, evaluate real prospects in professional and relationship spheres. On March 21, Mercury goes direct and communications normalize. Everything previously reconsidered can now be implemented. Important negotiations and discussions become easier and productive. On March 22, the Sun conjuncts Neptune, enhancing intuition, sensitivity, and desire for inner inspiration. This time is suitable for spiritual practices, creativity, and inner dialogue, but requires caution in practical, financial, and delegate contractual matters. On March 25, the Sun conjuncts Saturn, bringing maturity, clarity, and strengthening stable structures. You see boundaries of your capabilities in others. This is a day of serious decisions, strengthening alliances, and building steeps. Long-term strategies. On March 30, Venus enters Taurus, activating the 8th house. The need for stability, trust, and financial awareness increases. This day is favorable for strengthening partnership ties, resolving issues of shared resources and financial obligations. Use the day's energy to create deep emotional and material stability. March 2026 teaches Scorpios honesty with themselves and attention to internal resources. This month helps release illusions, complete cycles, organize finances and relationships, and strengthen inner strength. You come out with a new understanding of your value, strength, and possibilities. Stop adapting to others' expectations and choose yourself without guilt. True strength manifests in honesty, awareness, and being faithful to yourself and boundaries.